Caitlin. This is Citizen Zero. A lot of people really don't have a strong foundation. And I'm about foundations. I'm about building this fundamental space for yourself that you know what you want and how you're going to achieve it. And I think that's the core of activism as well. It's the core of organizing. It's the core of any kind of political engagement. You have to know yourself. You have to know what you want. You have to know where you're going. That's why I really feel like taking these fundamental concepts, okay, what is citizenship? Okay, how do we listen? Okay, what do we do once we've got this information? Is a complete set of building blocks, a starting line for yourself, so that way you are ready to take on the world and not just sit unprepared, ill suited for the tasks ahead. So, you want to prepare for the task ahead. I think that the biggest step is building a worldview. You've learned how the basics, you've figured out how you're going to actually absorb information. Now you need to know what you're going to do with that information. A worldview is basically your perfect world. Imagine what it would be like realistically. Okay, I know we all want jetpacks. Like, I'm on board, but I'm not sure that that's realistically gonna happen. So, um, for the sake of worldview, I would say, as a thought exercise, consider what the optimal world would look like. Like, are you talking about what happens to people when they get sick? What happens to people when they search for jobs? What happens to people when they lose jobs? What is it like to be a young person? What happens if you just want to be like a manual laborer? What happens if you'd like to be a university professor? These kinds of considerations, just thinking about what the world would seem like if you could, I don't know, build from scratch. I like that idea. Who's included, who's not included? Does everybody get freedom? And I think that just building that for yourself, then the next thing is removing yourself from the picture. It's so easy to build your own perfect world that revolves around you and you can do whatever you want. Once you remove yourself from the picture, then you have to build something sustainable. Whatever you're doing, you have to consider the impact on other people. So that's one of the major components. And that's how a worldview really has to function, because focusing on the self is not going to achieve what we really want to achieve in politics, which is conversation and consensus. If you're not actually thinking about what your worldview is going to do to other people and not just think about yourself, you're going to find yourself really butting heads with other people that you probably agree with, but you're too self-focused to be able to make that bridge, to make that impact with someone else. So people are going to ask why. So building a world that doesn't immediately focus on what you would like it to focus on means that you're building something real and lasting, but you're also building something that other people can actually engage with. A world that's just for you is not a world that other people are meant to inhabit. So you really have to think about other people. And one of the easiest ways to test your worldview and see if you're really building something sustainable is to discuss for yourself what happens to the people who disagree with you. It's so easy to get wrapped up in this idea that, oh, yeah, I have all the answers. There's no right answer. So I think being able to keep in mind what happens to people who disagree with you is the core of a great worldview. I think you'll see first and foremost people really relating to each other better. I think right now one of the big issues of the polarization is not that we actually disagree that strongly. That's what's most terrifying. is that once you get drilled down to the details, most people broadly agree on concepts. But it's taking that time and the fact that we don't drill down to details. Many of us can't really articulate how we feel. We get into defensive postures almost immediately. So, what kind of results will you see? I think you'll see that you can push your politicians more. You'll see that you can get better responses and consensus from regular people in your lives. I think you'll see that you can really find connective tissue between people that you never thought you were going to agree with. And I think one of the beautiful things about building your worldview is that you're not locked in to what a party says you're supposed to believe. Your worldview, when it's realistically portrayed, when it has nothing to do with you, means that you really don't have to march in lockstep with anyone. You can find yourself agreeing with someone that you normally disagree with. But you both believe that this thing should get done because it's going to lead to a better world. And the fact that you can both discuss that and function around it creates a much healthier politics. Like, I kind of want people to get excited to go vote, and I want people to be excited to participate. And I think that the easiest way to do that is to make politics feel less hostile. And the best way for yourself is to have a really clear idea of what you want, and to make sure that you keep that at your core, and you pass it out to other people when you get the chance to make clear to them, like, yeah, this is the world I see. What kind of world do you see? And then see where the overlaps are. There are bound to be some overlaps. We all want a better country. So taking that initiative, really having a sense of what you want, gives that kind of clarity that changes lives and will change our politics. Absolutely. So I just want you to take the opportunity to ask yourself, what are you going to do with your democracy?